Yet again, the Utes entered spring camp with a new offensive coordinator, and yet again, tempo was stressed throughout the camp from day to day. Dave Christensen's offense, he says, was installed pretty successfully this spring, and casual observers noted that there were less two tight end sets than last season and more two-back stuff. Whether or not it's a sea change from what Brian Johnson and Dennis Erickson were doing last season remains to be seen. At quarterback, Travis Wilson emerged or remained the clear number one after being held out from off-season work. And behind him, it got kind of interesting. Redshirt freshman Connor Manning seemed to have the edge in live work over Adam Schultz, but coaches stressed that they're going to go to the tape and make that decision in the coming weeks. Redshirt freshman Brandon Cox seems to be sort of clearly the number 4 guy, but as fans saw during Saturday's spring game, he has a ceiling that is pretty remarkable at times. And it remains to be seen if any of those guys transfer. If Utah can hold on to all of them for the offseason, I think they'll be pretty happy. They like all those guys, and they're hopeful that in the fall when junior Kendall Thompson comes in from Oklahoma and freshman Donovan Isom comes in from Louisiana, that they'll have sort of a good problem on their hands with 6 guys and a strong competition. At running back, a sort of hydra has emerged between Bubba Poole, Troy McCormick, and Devontae Booker. McCormick, a redshirt freshman, shows explosive speed, and Booker, a junior college transfer, really kind of has it all. But Bubba Poole came in as a junior number 1 on the depth chart, and he didn't do anything to lose that job. So the Utes have another good problem there. They don't have a clear starter coming out of spring, but any one of those guys, I think right now they feel pretty good about. At receiver, with Kenneth Scott feeling good but sitting out, Dominic Hatfield perhaps made the biggest impression this spring, showing blazing speed and good hands downfield. And some other guys who also performed well were Delshawn McClellan, Brian Allen, and Andre Lewis, who was really on a roll, Lewis that is, until an unspecified leg injury in scrimmage knocked him out for the rest of camp, but he will be back in the fall. Then on the offensive line, there was lots of mixing and matching. There's a large group of guys who appear to be competing for sort of that 5th spot behind Jeremiah Patasi, Junior Salt, Isaac Asiata, and Siosi Iono. But even the guys I just mentioned aren't well, besides Salt, they're not shoo-ins to start anywhere on the line, and there's still some mixing and matching expected in the fall. So the Christensen and new offensive line coach Jim Harding want to find a mix that they feel comfortable with. Then on defense, a lot of injuries. Only maybe 1 or 2 guys starting in the spring game will be starting this fall, and that led to a bunch of position switches, foremost among those being Eric Rowe moving to cornerback from his free safety position that he's occupied the last 3 years at the U. Now players have to report in June for summer conditioning. Coaches this year, due to NCAA rules changes, will have more time with those players, 8 hours a week, and 2 of those hours in the film room. And that'll really benefit a guy like Kendall Thompson or Kalen Clay, who's coming in for his senior season to compete for a starting wide receiver position, because coaches will be able to get them acclimated to the offense, and they won't have to hit the ground running, or they will be able to hit the ground running. They won't be at a disadvantage so much in the fall. And then Travis Wilson has what is hopefully for the Utes his final test to be cleared for contact in July, and the doctors at that time will also determine how future testing will go for the Utes. So it's big summer, a lot of expectations obviously, and by the beginning of fall we'll have the answers to some questions that Ute fans have been asking, not only this season but past seasons, about the offensive consistency and quarterback depth.